What's up everyone, Mr. H here. Today I'm going to show you how to complete the Groove Library project. So let's look at the curriculum portal. So here we are, Groove Library project, that is 2.2. Let's look at the Learn section. So we showed a little bit of this page on the last project. We showed this one Groove Library video. So what the Groove Library is it shows in beat map form a bunch of different grooves that have been, played throughout history, musical history. So we had our basic backbeat groove, which is the one that we did for the last project. And there are some variations on that. Most of the variations in these grooves occur with the kick drum. The kick drum is the communicative instrument in most modern music. So that's where a lot of the reading is going to be. The reading is going to be in the kick drum. So you're going to find a groove that you like that is based on your ability level. Now, if you try to cheat the system, and if you try to do a groove that's too easy for you, your teacher is going to catch you and they're going to assign you a groove that's kind of at your ability. You want to be challenged a little bit by the groove, but you don't want it to be too difficult, and you definitely don't want it to be too easy. You want to learn from this. So find a groove that's good for you. We have some really cool ones. We got some jazz here. We got some Latin ones. This one's a finger twister that'll turn your fingers into pretzels. We got some hip hop ones here, but the first few of them have a video that you can watch. So if you click on the video here, it'll give you...
here is our first variation of that basic or the backbeat.
An overview of how you can play this groove. Not all of these have the video, so let me give you my step-by-step sequence for learning a new groove. The first thing you want to do is you want to understand the groove. So let's pick reggaeton. Okay, so let's look at our groove here. This one's cool. It has a backing track. So is it 16th note or 8th note? So you're looking at what the bass subdivision is first. Now this is a 16th note bass groove. The hi-hat is playing 8th notes, but the snare drum is playing on some 16th notes here. The snare drum's on the of 1 and the and of 2. Remember when I said that the snare drum always plays in the backbeat? I lied, because reggaeton. Okay, so in the snare drum for this groove is what makes it cool. So once you've identified the bass subdivision for the groove, the next step is to just go through instrument by instrument and make sure that you could read the beat map. So the hi-hat is just playing all of the 8th note subdivisions, so that's easy, right? 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, I mean, if you're using the typing keyboard, depending on if you're Bandlab or Soundtrap, you might be using different keys, but I'm just going to do it all on the MIDI keyboard here. And the snare drum is a little more intricate because the snare drum is playing some other beats. So then I'll go to the kick drum here. The kick drum's easy, right? It's just 1 and 2 and 3 and 4, and the kick drum's on all 4 beats. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now we get to the crazy one. We get to the snare drum. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a, 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E. You're gonna get frustrated. You don't want to sound bad, so enter our old friend paper pads. You can't hear what the paper pads sound like, and this kind of isolates what you need to work on in this, which is that coordination. So kick your instruments out of the way. And let's get on our paper pads here. So I'm going to look at my groove, whatever it is, and then I'm going to go through instrument by instrument. That's better. I don't care if it doesn't sound good because it doesn't sound like anything. And isolate each instrument by itself. Then go maybe 2 instruments at a time. Maybe I'll do a kick and snare. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Maybe I'll do kick and hi-hat. 1 E and a, 2. This one's so easy. 3 E and a, 4 E and a. Maybe hi-hat and snare. 1 E and a, 2 E and a, 3 E and a, 4 E and a. The hang up for this groove is you're going to want to play the snare with the hi-hat on the of 1 and the of 3. Each groove is going to have its own little idiosyncrasies, but that's the idiosyncrasy for this one. So once you can go through instrument by instrument, do some instrument couplings, then it's time to go through, play all of them, but with a flexible tempo. So I have 1 E and 2E and a 3E and a 4E, and I'm not caring right now about time. You do not want to record like this, but what you're doing is you are making sure that you understand how this groove works, that you have the mechanics of playing the groove, and then go slow, find a tempo that works for you, and then be able to play it with the tempo. So now I'm finding a tempo on my metronome here. All right, here's my metronome. I'm at 104. That might be a little too fast. That's a little too fast for me. There we go. That's a good tempo for me. 1 E, a 2 E, and if you can sing it, you can play it. And conversely, if you're making it up in your head, if you're making drum beats up in your head, if you can sing them in your head, then you can play them, which is pretty cool. So now I have my metronome going. Now I can have my grid here. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4. If this is too fast for you, slow it down. Find a tempo that you could play it at. Yeah, that was too fast. Well, that's 29. This is ridiculous. All right. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E and a 1 E and a. Okay, so find a tempo that works for you. This one has a backing track. You can play with the backing track. Here's the backing track. All right, so when you're going to perform your groove, you want the metronome to be 100 beats per minute if it's 8th note, and you want it to be 80 beats per minute if it is 16th note. So I was rocking out a nice bright 43 beats per minute. That means I need to, continue to speed it up until I get to that tempo. And then it's time to get into your DAW. And now we're in Bandlab. So again, click on Instruments. And let's change this to a drum pad. Let's change it to an 808 kit. So go to Drum Pads, change your kit to 808. This is a 16th note bass groove, so we need to change our tempo to 80 beats per minute. And we need to make sure that our metronome is on. And let's just change the name of this to drums. So depending on if you're using the typing keyboard or if you're using the MIDI keyboard, you still want to practice with the metronome. So I'm going to press spacebar to get the metronome going. And let me try to play this really quick using the typing keyboard. I'm just going to do the, since I'm doing the reggaeton, I'm just going to do the kick and snare. 1 E and a 2 E and a 3 E and a 4 E. And now I'm going to add in the hi-hat. All right, I'll try it on the typing key or the MIDI keyboard. Awesome. Be able to play it. Remember, you need to play it for 4 measures. So be able to play it for those 4 measures. And then it is time to record. You need to record 4 measures of this. Depending on the difficulty of your groove, you might have a little more of a difficult time, playing this in comparison to the basic backbeat. So just make sure, again, you practice more than you think you need to before you hit the big red button. Maybe now you're starting to realize that you're a little worse than you are when you are practicing, when you're recording. And that's how everyone is. Don't feel bad about it. Okay, I'm going to give myself 2 measures of count in so that I can make sure I can, pull up my, I have a lot of buttons to press. There's a lot of buttons to press here. Okay, so I'm going to get it recording. All right, let's bring out my keyboard. 2 and 3 and 4 and 1. Okay, let's check out how we did. Double click, you can see all of your notes. Things look pretty decent. Let's change our grid size, actually. To change the grid size, you are going to go to View, Grid Size. We're going to change it to the 16th note. Now you can see all of the 16th notes. And I'm going to highlight, well, let's just listen to it with the metronome. Things are 100% perfect, but they're close. If I was to quantize this, you see that this would quantize to the correct subdivision. So let's quantize it and see if it quantizes it to the correct subdivision. You can always check by giving it a listen back. So let's give it a listen back. Sounds good. Sounds great. This is something that I'd feel confident turning in. Now, depending on your teacher, you might have to turn in the non-quantized version. You might need to leave it alone, which is fine. All you need to do then is press, Control Z, which undoes stuff. And now it looks as untidy as it was before, but it still is in the correct spots. So be patient with yourself. Be honest when you're practicing. Good luck, and we'll see you in the shed.